Hey, folks, welcome to another edition of the Housecoat Chat number 36, take two. Hopefully, the internet doesn't die this time. Yes, I see a little bit of stuttering or whatever going on with my screen. Hopefully, I have okay video output. Judging from what I see so far, it looks okay. And yes, today is Wednesday. Had a big snowstorm, shoveled my deck, shoveled the front walkway, just waiting for the snow to finish basically so that I could shovel it all again and then snow plow the driveway or use my snow blower. Yes, that's right, folks. Anyways, here we go. Let's take a look at the mug. My kids have paws. Yes, and I just want to make a friendly reminder, like I do at the end of the show, is please go to the SPCA at least once in your life and adopt a pet if you so choose to do so. Remember that the scone above me is for those who have lost a loved one. Not going to get into too much more on that, other than that it's for you and me to enjoy and observe and share. Right? Yes, folks, what could we say? I want to talk about David Eby at the moment because David Eby has come out swinging against Trump. He's taking all of his excuses, all of his blunders, and everything else, and he's doing what the world has been doing since 2015, blaming Trump. Orange man bad, TDS syndrome galore. All I have to say is your advisors, David, I mean, must be Chinese, in my opinion. They must be connected to all the trafficking out in the ports and everything else and the money laundering. Only reason why I think you're actually doing what you're doing, you can't run this province because you're a hobbyist. Yes, David, you're a hobbyist because you canceled the legislative session before Christmas, maybe a month before, if I remember correctly. Could be 3 weeks before the shutdown actually is supposed to happen. But you shut it down early. Why? Hmm? Why? Was there something to do with outside coordination with other nations regarding a piece of paper and people going to the polls? Hmm? Maybe, David. I mean, the evidence is kind of glaring, considering that we have I will call it a halfway house for people with issues, health issues, mental issues, that somehow 22 or 21 out of the 22 people at this center voted for a David Eby, considering these people are there for substance abuses and I believe mental health issues. And anybody suffering from mental health or drug issues, if you are currently listening, I hope you get all the help you need and positive vibes and all that wonderful stuff. But David, you're a hobbyist. I have another nickname for you, which is David I Eat Edibles Ebby, because you don't seem to grasp the true nature of what BC is going through. Oh, yes, David Abbey. I mean, my God, I see videos coming out of Vancouver of young children having to walk around dead bodies on the streets, little children. Is this Gaza? Is this some other Middle Eastern country? Is this Ethiopia? Is this Somalia? Is this Ukraine on the war front? No, this is Vancouver, British Columbia. It is supposed to be one of the crown jewels of this whole beautiful country, Vancouver the beautiful, right? But no, now we have drug addicts, crack addicts, getting to run free everywhere and do their drugs wherever they please, sell their safe supply to unsuspecting teens, creating a new wave of people wanting these illicit drugs because they are powerful and it makes them feel good. And they want the drugs that's the strongest. They will always seek stronger drugs. There's no cure other than rehabilitation. Safe supply has failed. Yes, you have failed, Mr. Eby, and I just can't stress it enough. I live in the town of Vanderhoof. I believe the MLA is, you may know him, John Rustad. Yes, folks, our wonderful little community here has lost another mill. Fraser Lake, just close by, lost a mill. This whole area, once an economic powerhouse, is slowly losing it because somehow Starbucks and McDonald's are the answer to the future. No, it is not, folks. If you want to listen to somebody that's got a bit of brains, try Trump. He wants to bring back manufacturing into the North America, or at least America, because he realizes that if you let other countries build your stuff, you become their bitch, right? I hate to swear, I hate to put it that way, but David Eby is your classic politician who wants the power but doesn't want the responsibility. David, I eat edibles Evie, the hobbyist, whatever you want to call him, folks. He is a disgrace to PC, and the $1,000 that he promised us, remember, is scrap. But the pay raises they kept. Well, I have all MLAs on notice for the province of British Columbia. If things don't improve for BCers, I would like to see a reduction in pay for the civil service that is running this province, not the rank and file people that are cleaning the streets or picking up the garbage and all that kind of stuff. I'm talking about the people in the legislative building that have got a bump in their pay raises, a huge bump, folks. And meanwhile, we were promised what? $1,000, and guess where it went? Up with smoke because somebody decided to say, we're going to punish the people that are hurting our citizens. Who was that? That was the United States of America saying to the rest of the world, we will not tolerate the fentanyl that's coming into our country and we are going to do something about it. Right? That is amazing. Here we are today with a province that's just defied the wisdom of being a political leader, only gaslighting us, and most importantly, lying through his teeth. Yes, politics is a popularity contest, and David Eby is losing. Thankfully, I just hope that the election stuff comes out and it shows truth. And I want people punished. And if there needs to be a re-election, then let it happen. Correct, folks? I think so. Why should we allow this to happen? Our elected officials are accountable to us. They're not accountable to their NGOs. They're not accountable to the people that are supplying them money from outside this beautiful land of Canada. They are beholden to us, and it's time we, the people, bring that back. Yes. All right, folks, let's go and just change. And I know I don't really want to do politics, but this is where my mind is. And this is important because the next guy on this list is not even elected in Canada, has been helping run this government for 4 years. And that is Mark Carnage Carney, carbon tax Carney, whatever you want to call him. He is what you would call a foot soldier for the Davos, BlackRock, WF crowd, IMF, you name it, folks. He is in the big, big club. And if you aren't aware of that, you should realize that by the way he is talking down to all of us Canadians, saying that the Liberals never followed all of his wise wisdom. And he's here to fix it. What did he do to the United Kingdom, folks, as the bank manager of England? There's a reason why he's called Carnage Carney. And you know what? I really wish we had a height requirement for politics because I'm sure Carney is a little too short. Not to knock all the short people, but there are decent people out there that could do this job as prime minister better than somebody who is beholden to powers that be. Remember, his old empire of Brookfield, I believe, management, whatever you want to call it, his asset management, he's moved that company south to America, folks, before he announced his intention to be the Liberal PM or the Liberal Party leader, right? And then if you look at the announcements today on the high-speed rail project between Montreal and Toronto, which has been promised since the 1960s. And here we are in 2025, still waiting on it. Let's not have a boondoggle like California where they got a what, 11-kilometer bridge going nowhere for their high-speed rail. Let's not go there, folks. Via Rail is losing money left, right, and center. And I will tell you this, when Mark Carney says he will invest in Canada to grow, what he means is as taxpayer citizens of this country, the corporation that he sponsors to help build these high-speed rail projects, and almost 70, folks, 70 other projects that are tied to Mark Carney's name. Yes, people, read, look stuff up. I'm not going to flash things on the screen. I don't want to do any of that. Because if I read something to find it out and it took me 5 minutes to 10 minutes of research by just typing in Mark Carney's name and where he is or using Grok, right? We have the power at our fingertips and we should use it, folks. You should not really be needing me, the dude in the housecoat, telling you what the truth is or what the reality is. The reality is you need to look it up. And I'm going to tell you something that kind of blew my mind. My mom is in Mexico and she has just started watching Fox News. And guess what she told me? I can't believe how much they lied to us. Our mainstream media in Canada is a Gestapo of parroted propaganda, narrative driven indoctrination from the government. It is, folks. I mean, I just watched Steve Booth's podcast on Pat King's trial and the verdict. I didn't make it 5 minutes, but it's a shout out to Steve. He is a good speaker and he is knowledgeable in what he knows, but he is left. And I do hope he runs for the NDP party leadership of Canada, let alone Saskatchewan, a province. That's how highly I think of the man when I listen to him. But I couldn't finish his video today because I think about what he's talking about with Pat King, and then I see all the other atrocities with all the other things that have gone on. I know I'm on a sidebar here. I'll get back to Mark Carney in a bit. But geez almighty, even with Steve Booth talking about Mark Carney, he's praising the man without actually spending 5 minutes of his own research. He's just using the mainstream narrative and the stuff that they put out to fluff him. He is not a good man, folks. Mark Carney is the BlackRock's trustee for countries that are in bankruptcy. Uh, he's a trustee for bankruptcy for countries. And who is being selected to run this country? Think on that a minute, folks. How close is Canada being completely broke? And I think the project like the high speed rail or the universal basic income that they're trying to push out there, right? Mark Carney may be a smart and knowledgeable man, but has he ever gone hungry? No, he still gets paid, right? Well, meanwhile, what's going on in the real world? Getting a little tougher to live, isn't it, folks? Getting a little tougher to pay the bills. Alberta, um, the cold snap for February. It is the coldest February since 1975, and the month is not over. Can you say carbon tax headache come March? Oh, yes, you can. And then come April 1st, what do we have from the Liberals and the future Liberal leader, Mark Carney? We have another carbon tax increase, which is mind boggling considering the tariff situation. Everybody in Canada is up in arms about these American tariffs, but nobody's screaming about the extra carbon tax coming our way. Nobody. It's insane. I wish Canada would wake up and toss our government, but it's not going to happen, right? I mean, seriously, like look at how they're talking about the carbon tax Carney, who advises the PM and everybody else to raise the carbon tax all these years since he's been the advisor to the Liberal Party. And now he's backpedaling, saying, no, we will just let the big polluters pay. Consumers won't have any worries about price increases. But where do big companies pass off their costs? To customers. Somebody down the road is going to buy that steel. Somebody down the road is going to buy that aluminum. But Carney's trying to fool us to think that we won't pay any more carbon tax. Remember, they keep saying 8 out of 10 Canadians receive more money than they pay. Smoke and mirrors, smoke and mirrors. That's all it is, folks. Smoke and mirrors. And please, the carbon tax has done what for the environment? Just recently, let's just talk about the money that they spent in the United States alone. Over $2 trillion to solve climate change, environmental stuff, and they even reduced fossil fuel use by 2%, basically. Excuse me. Sorry about that. 2%, $2 trillion. And a country as large as Canada is paying carbon tax through the roof. And we have a forest that actually absorbs more carbon than we actually produce as Canadians. Go look that up, folks. Research, read. Yes, I know, but it takes effort on your part. If you just believe the 15-second sound bites, that's on you. Yes, folks, the whole idea of the carbon tax getting scrapped and only big polluters will pay. Well, what's that going to do for the cost increase for the project for the high speed rail? Lots of steel there, folks. Lots of steel there. Where are they going to get it from? Where are these companies that are big producers in Canada that want to use Canadian resources to make something? We are making it almost impossible for anybody to do business in this country. Hence why we don't have a refinery that can actually do the tar sand oils up in northern Alberta. Imagine if we could produce our own gasoline from the tar sand instead of sending it to the States at a discount, right? Because that's what we're doing in order for us to get that oil sand to the market. Because nobody wants to have the headache of trying to make a refinery in Canada. Look at Kitimat. What was that, $11 billion project? And Stephen Buttigieg crushed it. Wow, wow, wow. Yes, folks, let's get on with Trump and the Doge. I just want to touch on it briefly. I'm amazed at what they have accomplished in the short amount of time that Trump has been president. No other president has been busy making announcements and trying to save money to the point that it's almost a month. And now Elon Musk is saying, with the amount of money that we have saved the American taxpayers, we might be able to afford to give every American that is a taxpayer a $5,000 check as a rebate, an apology, whatever you want to call it. That's a lot of money, just a month, folks. They haven't even got finished with the IRS yet. They haven't done the Pentagon yet. There are so many different agencies and organizations that it's amazing. I actually listened to an old clip from Ronald Reagan talking about the bureaucracy in the whole U.S. government in the '80s, and he's talking about the man who's kind of responsible for keeping everybody in check for spending and all that in the United States government. And that person back in the day says, I don't know how many agencies, bureaucracies, committees that are actually going on in the United States. Case in point, look at their Social Security. Some people beyond the American Civil War were apparently still getting these checks. Who's cashing them? That's my question. Who is cashing them? Wow. I mean, good on the American public for voting in on Trump. Say what you will about the man. I don't care. But I'll tell you what, I would love something like that up here in Canada. Yes, I would. Wouldn't you? Taxpayer savings? Because my God, how many billions of dollars have gone out the door from global affairs for what? Don't poop on the beach for lesbian bean farmers in Africa? All this equity, climate change, all these buzzwords that are all throughout all these projects. And what actually good do they do? Right? We have reserves in this country that still need drinking water, clean drinking water. And you think all the billions that have been pumping out of the global affairs, I mean, let's not go to the native stuff, right? But my God, where is the priority? We have homeless people and we're housing immigrants and people coming here illegally, hand over fist. And meanwhile, there's old couples that are seniors living in fishing tents in Nova Scotia. It sucks. Yes, I know I'm a dude in a housecoat. I'm on a rant. I'm on a tear. But people need to wake up. You, as a citizen, need to say, man, this is nuts. I mean, say what you will about being left wing and being right wing, but how about being decent? And being decent means taking care of the people within this country, being able to have affordable, timely health care instead of an express lane to Maid. Maid accounted for 5% of the deaths that happened within this country last year. 5%. Maid is medically assisted in dying. They are making legislation for people with mental disabilities to apply for MAID. Soon, folks, and get this, soon it's going to be for me or you who decide, well, you know what, life sucks. I just want to end it. Could I have MAID? Really? Are we going to go down that route? Adolf Hitler was a bad man. Yes, he was, folks. But guess what? I think our government's doing very similar. And it sucks. Yes, it sucks. And what can we say? We need better as citizens, folks. And the only way you could do that is to contact your MLA, your MP, your civic leaders, even get involved in politics yourself. That's the only way we're really going to save ourselves unless we actually have a revolution. And, the cost of that's going to be high. But we could take the powers that be. I'm telling you, have a gander with Frank Vaughn. He's on YouTube. Listen to some of his old videos. Check out Andy Lee on the foreign stuff for all that corruption. Even check out Steve Boots for his other side, his left wing view. Shout out to all my people that I like watching. Yes, you guys are amazing. And also, you, the listener, are amazing. And I hope that all of you get involved and try and make a difference. It truly only takes 5 minutes to call your MP or an MLA and say, hey, what the heck is going on? Could we fix this? Could we solve this? Right? We need better, folks. And let's stop letting the politicians tell us different. We are the bosses, they are the employees, and Canada deserves better. Positive vibes, everyone. Thank you very much.